The Sega Astro City Mini released with a couple of accessories including the Virtua Stick High Grade based arcade stick. Glad to see a return of the legendary design after so many years. Even if I don't have a current interest in the Astro City Mini, I still wanted the stick to toy around. Prior to buying it, I came to the realization that swapping parts will be limited, even if equipped with arcade quality Sanwa Denshi parts much like its predecessor. I also wanted to see if it could work beyond its intended platform. I'm the Phantom Nut, and let's see what can be done. While the stick is equipped with OBS F30 and OBS F24 push buttons, which should be great for most owners, here's what you need to know if you want to swap them. The original Virtua Stick High Grade required opening up the bottom plate in order to open the top panel. Introducing the Astro City Mini stick are torque screws on the top. All you need is a T3 screwdriver, and you can easily open up the panel. Compared to the 8-bit 2 arcade stick video I did earlier, swapping buttons here is a bit tougher. The quick disconnect wires require a harder tug, but it is manageable. When pressing the side tabs and pushing out a button, a bit more effort is required. Fortunately, there is enough room to swap out for even screw-in buttons unlike 8-bit 2 stick. For me, I'm keeping the buttons as they are, but if I ever want to use the pink colored parts featured in Sega Toys' exclusive 2P variant of this stick, I know what to do. Much like the original Virtua Stick High Grade, the Astro City Mini stick utilizes a Sanwa Denshi JLF lever, but mounted in a more uncommon fashion. While other arcade sticks utilize a JLF with the mounting plate, this is done through the main body's two mounting holes. This is similar to what's found in some Japanese arcade cab panels. While it allows the JLF to work on smaller spaces such as this, you are limited in swapping to a different lever. As an experiment, I tried a couple of levers, specifically the Seimitsu LS32 and the LS62. They don't use the same mounting design on default, so I opted to use some of my universal mounting plates to work around the issue. I put Kowal's flat plate converter on the LS32 and 8-bit 2's own on the LS62. Both ultimately didn't work due to the actual size of the plates coming in conflict with the Sega arcade layout, as the buttons are too close to the lever area. Even if the plates were not issues, I would assume the LS62 would only work for this case due to the smaller size, and the LS32 being a tad too large for the stick. Even Seimitsu themselves couldn't get a proper fit with their attempt. I later tried out a Hori Hayabusa lever, as that featured the same mounting holes as the JLF. Without its plate, the Hayabusa works like a charm. Ultimately, when it comes to finding a replacement lever, you need to factor in making sure it can properly fit inside the case, as well as have it adhere to the mounting format. At least with those universal plates, if you can reduce the size to avoid issues with the buttons, then you'll have a better time in experimenting. If you're like me and want to use it on PC, you might end up with a mixed experience. The Astro City Mini arcade stick was designed specifically for its intended platform, and its inputs are not common with those found in Xbox or PlayStation arcade sticks. If you're looking to use something like MAME or the various emulators on Fightcade, it'll be easy to program with the necessary inputs. If you're looking to play more modern titles, it's not plug and play. With help from my friend Alex, we researched and found out that using X360CE is the best way to stabilize the stick to a usable format. For a detailed breakdown, there will be a link in the video notes on how it's done. If you do want to swap the stock PCB however for something like a Brook fighting board, you'll have to open from the bottom with a Phillips head screwdriver. The space where the main PCB is housed in is enough for a fighting board. For the universal fighting board specifically, it's compatible with the Astro City Mini by holding 1P and 1K when plugging into the cabinet. If you want to use the stick for other consoles such as the PlayStation 4 with one of these boards, do note that there are only two auxiliary buttons. You will need at least a home and an option/start button, but if you want to use a trading mode reset button like touchpad, you will need to sadly create a hole in the body. If you want a detailed PCB swap guide, please check out Hyper36 Max's guide down below. The Astro City Mini arcade stick is pretty cool, albeit with caveats. The stock parts are great and just right for most users, but anything beyond lever-wise will not be easy to work with. The stick might not work great outside of the actual Astro City Mini as is, but you do have options in working around the issue. I do want to see Sega reissue the Virtua Stick High Grade for the PlayStation 5 with improvements to allow for better modding support while maintaining the design. It came out a bit too early at the time of its release, but now that the arcade sticks are a relatively more common thing, I think Sega should give it another try. The Astro City Mini arcade stick for now is sort of a half step to what could hopefully be. Until next time, thank you for watching.